Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Joelle and I am a full-time reseller and law school student selling on platforms like Poshmark, Whatnot, Depop, and Mercari. And today I have a what sold video for you all, and I'll be going over my Poshmark, Depop, and Mercari sales. Last week I created a poll for my subscribers asking you all if you would rather see more consumer trends that I'm noticing in my sales or if you would want to see every single sale from the past 2 weeks. You all voted and decided that you'd rather see the more consumer trend side of sales. So for today, I have 2 categories to go over for what I have noticed has been selling in the past 2 weeks. The first one is fall and outdoorsy pieces, and the second one is shoes. And I also have a couple of full price sales that I want to talk to you all about. So if you want to see more reseller content like this, definitely make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. And if you want to keep up with me on social media, my platforms, I have all of my platforms linked below. But now we're going to get into my first category of sales, which is fall and outdoorsy items. First up was a pretty successful sale. On Poshmark, I sold this Penfield flannel lined rain jacket on a $40 offer sent by the buyer. I had this jacket listed pretty high at $75. It was a new to me brand that I received in a threaded men's rescue box. Turns out it was a women's jacket in a size extra small, and I actually thought that it would have gotten a lot more attention, but I had had it listed since around June and it really didn't get a lot of likes. So I got to the point where I was willing to let the jacket go for a pretty low price compared to what I had it listed at. The icing on the cake was that my cost of goods for this jacket was just $3.55, and if you are like me and did not know what Penfield was, these jackets retail for quite a bit, and sold comps were pretty promising. I will definitely make sure to include some, but it is definitely a Bolo brand. And of course, with the fall and winter seasons, jackets are going to be selling a lot better. So for this jacket, after fees and cost of goods, I profited $28.45. This next sale was my one and only Depop sale of the past 2 weeks. It is definitely a hot and cold platform for me, but on a $23 offer sent by the buyer, I sold this Patagonia plaid button-down shirt. I also received this in a thread-up men's rescue box, but this one had a few more items in it, so my cost of goods for this shirt was just $3.17. Patagonia is one of the best outdoors brands that you can source. For me personally, at my thrift stores, they will always mark up Patagonia jackets and pullovers, but I really got lucky with this thread-up rescue box that it did have a Patagonia piece. And even though it was extremely wrinkled and hard to photograph, I still ended up profiting $16.29 for this shirt. This next fall and outdoorsy piece that sold was by no means an impressive sale. For just $12, I sold this Roots quarter-zip pullover. Like Penfield, this was another new-to-me brand, but these pullovers retail for around $90 to $100. I managed to pick it up for just 98 cents, so I didn't even check sold comps before I picked it up. All I needed to see was the fact that it was a decent brand retail-wise. I want to say I had this listed for $30 or $35 based on suggested comps, and I had been sending some pretty drastic offers because at the time my sales were extremely slow. So I was definitely willing to let go of this piece for a lower price because my cost of goods were so low. And after fees in my cost of goods of 98 cents, I ended up profiting just $8.07 for this pullover. But at the end, I was definitely glad that it helped me pick up my sales. Next up was another pretty low price sale. For just $15 on Mercari, I sold this Nuovo New Forces patterned cardigan. Mercari brought me a few sales these past couple weeks, but they were all pretty low priced. This was actually the highest one, and I brought in a whopping $14 on 2 other sales. So it is safe to say that Poshmark and Whatnot carried my sales these past 2 weeks. But this was a piece that had been sitting in my inventory for almost a year, which kind of shocked me because it is definitely a higher end vintage brand. There were some sold comps that were around $40 to $50. And it was a really cool pattern, but sometimes you just can't find the right buyers out there, and that is completely okay. I ended up lowering the price for this sweater just on Mercari to $25, and I think I had it listed for $40 on Poshmark. And thanks to one shop refreshing my Mercari listings, it ended up getting a lot more attention than it had been this past year. After a few likes, I ended up sending out a $15 offer. Now, I did pay $6.98 for this, which I wish I hadn't paid that much because nowadays I try to keep my inventory at around $3 or less per item. But like that Roots pullover, I definitely wanted to get my inventory moving. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $5.78 for this cardigan. Next up was a really cute new with tag sweater. For $20, I sold this Coco and Jameson terry cloth sweater. Now this sweater is proof that relisting works, and if you want to have an easy relisting process, definitely make sure to check out One Shop. I do have a video linked below if you all want to check out kind of the pros and cons of the app, but one of the biggest pros is that they do relist your items automatically. You can set the time. I personally have it relisting my items every 61 days. I had no clue that it had been relisted, and I was definitely happy to receive this $20 counter offer on the item. And when I was looking through my new just in listings, I was happy to see that it was there and it had just been relisted the same day that it sold. So this was a retail arbitrage find. I bought it at a Dillard's clearance outlet. If you have not heard of Dillard's clearance outlets, it is definitely a great place to source. They usually have some semi-annual sales. I have picked up Free People pieces and a lot of other great brands for just $4.99 a piece. So if you haven't checked, definitely make sure to see if you have one in your area. Mine is about 3 hours away now since I moved, which is definitely frustrating because I haven't been for a while, but I will definitely make sure to make a trip there soon. So after my $4.99 cost of goods and then Poshmark's fees, I ended up profiting $11.01 for this sweater. Also, just a little tip if you all do not know, terry cloth is a great material to sell. I've definitely seen a major influx of it in terms of loungewear. So if you are able to find anything from a pair of terry cloth shorts to a sweatshirt or a cropped hoodie, definitely make sure to pick it up if the price is right. I typically look for terry cloth when it comes to retail arbitrage if I'm at TJ Maxx or Marshall's, or somewhere like Urban Outfitters if they're having a clearance event. But overall, it is a really great material to sell, especially around this time of year when people are getting more into loungewear because it is getting a little bit colder outside. But now that we have gone over my fall and outdoors pieces, we are now going to talk about my other category that I have noticed a trend in, and that is shoes. Shoes used to be one of my best selling categories, but lately since I have moved, my local thrift store does not have the best shoe section, and then my old go-to thrift store is just too far away with my schedule, so I'm not able to go there as much. So overall, I have not been sourcing shoes as much, which is why I was pleasantly surprised that I had sold a decent amount of shoes these past 2 weeks. So first up, on a $30 offer, I sold these Stuart Weitzman platform slip-on sandals. Some people think that Stuart Weitzman doesn't sell well, but I personally think that you have to be looking at style. For example, I see a lot of vintage heels in my thrift stores. I typically tend to stray away from those, especially if they are a very outdated heel. But when it comes to their vintage or Y2K platform sandals, I always pick them up. I have sold a few pairs myself. And in terms of other styles, I will always pick up a modern style if I see it in the stores, and I will always pick up any type of boot. My cost of goods for these shoes were just $3.99. I did get them half off at my old go-to thrift store, and after fees and cost of goods, I profited $20.01 for these sandals. Next up, I sold a pair of Nike Kids indoor soccer shoes. This was actually the first pair of shoes that I have ever sourced from kids, and obviously the first pair of kids shoes that I have ever sold. These I had listed for $30, and I did receive a $15 offer from the buyer. And I definitely go back and forth with accepting lowball offers like that. I know a lot of people will never accept a 50% off offer, which is totally understandable. But for me, these shoes actually cost me $6. I was intending to only pay $3, but I didn't realize until I had gotten home from the sourcing trip that the thrift store forgot to give me the 50% off. And the thrift store was about 45 minutes away, so I did not want to go back and try to return them. So I decided to just count my loss and try to sell them the first chance that I get, even if I'm only making a couple of bucks. The good news is these shoes only sat for about 2 months and they were in like new condition. And after fees and cost of goods, I profited $6 for these indoor soccer shoes. All right, we have 2 more shoes to talk about, and these 2 pairs of shoes come from one of my favorite brands of shoes to sell. And fun fact, they sold within just 20 minutes of each other, so it was definitely a successful day. But first up, I sold these Tom's Layla ankle booties. Obviously, Tom's has their classic flats. I personally do not source for those. I've noticed in my thrift stores that they are marked up. But if you all are not sourcing for Tom's boots or wedges, definitely start today. I've only sold a handful of toms, but I will include my sold comps. I typically make around $15 to $40 per pair. I try to keep my cost of goods low, but when it comes to toms, I'd be willing to pay up to around $10 to $12 if the shoe is right. These sold on a $25 offer sent by the buyer, and my cost of goods were just $2.99, so I was definitely willing to let these go for a lower price. These also had a small flaw because one of the zippers on the back was missing a little fringe tassel detailing. So these slightly flawed shoes only sat for about 2 months, and after fees and cost of goods, I still profited $17.51. This next pair of shoes was a pair of Tom's Paxton sneakers, and they sold on a $28 offer sent by myself. If you watch my what sold videos, you know that I send out an initial 20% off offer plus discounted shipping. I used to do 10% off, but I noticed that I wasn't getting a lot of quick sales. Since I had changed to 20% off and that offer is sent automatically by one shop, which makes it even easier, I have definitely noticed an influx of quick sales. So these shoes were a part of those 20% off sales. They sold within just a couple of weeks of listing, and my cost of goods were $5. So after fees and cost of goods, I profited $15.68 for these Tom sneakers. All right, we have now gone over my consumer trends of the past 2 weeks. Now I just have 2 full price sales to share with you all. These really didn't fit into any categories, but I really wanted to share them because they are some pretty good trending items. So first up, at full price for $40, I sold this Fossil mini shoulder bag. I don't source for purses a lot, but when I do, I definitely look for larger tote bags and especially mini shoulder bags like this one. It is definitely a trend, especially with Y2K being a trending style. And my cost of goods for this purse was $0, so it was definitely something I was willing to let go of for a lower price, so it felt really good to get that full price sale at $40. I also want to take this time to give a little shout out to Poshmark. My cost of goods for this purse was $0 because I won a Poshmark giveaway a couple months ago where I earned $500 in credits. I don't know about you all, but I always enjoy giveaways and getting free stuff from it. And getting this $500 in Poshmark credit was not only good for my personal closet because I was not spending my own money to get items, but it was also huge for my reselling business because I was able to just order whatever I wanted on Poshmark, knowing that I could sell it for whatever price I wanted, whether it was on Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, or whatnot. So thanks to that Poshmark giveaway and my cost of goods being $0, I profited $32 for this Fossil mini shoulder bag. All right, we are on to the last sale. This was a full price sale at only $15, but I sold these All in Motion biker shorts. If you don't know, All in Motion is an activewear brand sold at Target. Do not sleep on Target brands, especially All in Motion and Wild Fable. These brands are known to have trending styles when it comes to activewear and really any other style in the Wild Fable department. I'm not a complete expert on Target brands, but I do know that they have a huge influx of styles coming every season, and a lot of times there will be some items that sell out and never come back in their stores, which definitely raises their resale value even though Target brands do not retail for a lot. So I've sold a handful of Target items for a pretty decent profit. If I'm in the thrift store, I will usually pay no more than $2 per item unless it is new with tags or a pretty unique piece. But for these shorts, they were from my personal closet, and so my cost of goods was $0. So after fees, I ended up profiting $12 for these biker shorts. That is all I have for my sales from the past 2 weeks. If you did watch my other most recent What Sold video, you know that my sales for October have been terrible. My sales still aren't quite where I want them to be, but I have made a November goal to have an average listing of 5 items per day on Poshmark. And these past 2 weeks, I've definitely noticed traffic to my closet picking up and sales picking up. So I'm hoping that my next What Sold video will have a lot better sales to share with you all. And another bright side is that my Whatnot sales have definitely picked up. I'm starting to gain more of a following on there. So if you all do want to check out my Whatnot, it is linked below. If you haven't signed up yet, I do have a link for you. As a member of the Whatnot stream team, I do have a link that will get you $15 off your first purchase when you sign up with it, rather than the generic link that only gives you $10 off. So not only do you get to sign up, you also get to get $15 off your first purchase, which can definitely go a long way when you're buying from a live auction on Whatnot. That's all I have for you though today, so I really appreciate you all if you are still here watching. And now that we're at the end of this video, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you for the next video.